Good. So this is planning and scheduling of larger projects. I guess this is part 926. I've spoken about this quite a lot. So this is stuff that's come up in the things that we seem to continuously do wrong in the that we discuss in the meetings. So this is to solidify that training so that we don't keep repeating the same mistakes. We don't have to keep reinventing the wheel. We have our training to fall back on. So, point number one, the most important part of the job is the preparation. Anything you're not prepared for, you're going to suck at. So we'll use the analogy of the trance DJ who are in our midst. He cannot just walk into a gig unprepared and expect to kick ass. He has to have everything set up beforehand, make sure he's got all his tracks sorted, make sure everything's lined up, make sure he's rehearsed everything so that it goes smoothly, and then he impresses the crowd. If he didn't do any of that, it's going to be a complete failure. Nobody's going to ask him to play again. Same with us. If we want to look good to the client, make sure you've prepared so that when you get there, you look like a champion, you impress the client, and it's not rocket science. It's just thinking about the project before you start it. One thing we need to avoid at all costs, this is point 2, is make sure the aesthetic choices have been made before the job starts. Do not let the design phase of the job lead into the execution phase. We are contractors, we are there to execute. We are not designers. So we can't tell the client what paint color to use. We can't tell the client what tiles to buy. They need to make that decision. But now if you start the job and then let the client decide the things later, sometimes you kind of force changes because they didn't think about it beforehand. And then once they start making decisions, they go, hang on, this is not what we thought it was. And it becomes more complicated. Firstly, it delays you because now they haven't made a decision. You can't lay tiles that haven't been chosen. You can't paint. You can't get a color mixed that hasn't been chosen. So it delays your project and it complicates your project. So as the manager, ensure with the sales staff, I think we make it the sales staff's their responsibility to ensure that the client has chosen their colors. And then from there, you don't start the project unless those choices have been confirmed. Okay. Point number 3 is don't rely on suppliers to be on time with deliveries. Don't plan a big job X with a delivery date of Wednesday. You're starting on Monday and then Wednesday you're going to have everything delivered. Unless you are certain that that supplier can be relied upon. 90% of the time they can't. Rather get the stuff there before you need it. So rather have it on hand and not need it, but deal with a little bit of more chaos than sit on site waiting for something, because that's just going to kill your profit margin. Okay. Then point number 4, as a company, we shouldn't start two or more big jobs on the same day. It's better to stagger your start dates of your biggest projects so to ensure that firstly there's someone who, from the sales staff who can make sure that you understand what needs to happen on that site. Make sure that you got your staffing sorted, etc. So it's best practice. Don't start to. We've had it now twice. It's just havoc. It's not necessary. Number 5 is planned staff and tools in advance. If you need scaffolding, we need to discuss it in the meeting. That's why we have weekly meetings. I need scaffolding for this job. Okay, cool. There's no point if you didn't discuss it and then Monday comes and you want to start loading scaffolding. Oh, damn it! It's not here. It's on site at another site. You just kibosh the whole thing. So it's important for us to discuss this in the weekly meetings. That's why we have the upcoming projects section, so we can talk about those. And also, you can't use a staff member if someone else has already booked them. Then, something that's bitten us now once or twice is we have a discussion with the client, a verbal discussion. We think we agree to something, and then the client just goes, nah. So what you do is, once you have a discussion with a client, let's say there's an issue that needs to be resolved. They're not happy with the floor. There's an issue with their fireplace. You have a discussion with them. Then you send an email. That's the first prize, is an email. A WhatsApp can do, but WhatsApp is not as good as an email. You send an email stating, thank you for having a discussion with me about this issue with the floor. As we agreed, we will do X, Y, Z to rectify the situation. That kind of commits the client to what was said. If you don't send that email, you hope the client's going to be honest enough to keep to it. And like I said, twice now in the last year, we found clients won't hold to a verbal agreement. So always get it in writing, send the email. And then lastly, number 7, keeping track of the weather. I've been hunting high and low. I found a weather app. It's called WeatherBug. It's on Android. So there's the WeatherBug. It's a little a gadget, and then it's also the full app. It's very accurate. It's much more accurate than Google, and it gives you alerts for like serious weather issues like hail or lightning. I'd suggest we all get it. It can save you a lot of headaches. I mean, you need to look at the weather and say, okay, Wednesday we want to start painting. Wednesday's rain. You're going to waste all that paint and all that effort. Just plan something else. And keeping that weather app, I think, should be quite useful for that. Right, guys?